Hi everyone, and my name is Ren Baker. I'm an elephant keeper here at the Houston Zoo. You're joining us so to get an update on our baby elephants and how they're doing. We're just going to wait a little bit and get people logged on, and then we're going to answer some questions about how our cute little ones are doing now and what they're learning. Morning everyone. So you're joining us here at the elephant exhibit. We're going to watch some training with our baby elephants. We have a baby elephant, Teddy, in front of us right now, who's leaning in and learning how to present his feet for us for future husbandry and health exams and things like that. So we have a really cool, the Legacy Community Health has a long history of caring for the greater Houston community, including the youngest members through their pediatric health and care. The zoo is collaborating with Legacy to bring you updates on the care we give our young elephants, Winnie and Teddy, during this first year. So what you're going to be watching is Teddy doing training. So right now, as soon as they start eating solid foods, we start our training process with them. So they start eating solid foods around 3 to 4 months, and as soon as they realize that food is really good and start coming up to us, we will start training, because it's more, it makes more sense to start training a baby elephant when they're little. And as they grow up, except for when they get really, really big, like their moms. We want to start training before they're at that big age. We want them to be training for all of their health exams and things. We want it to be fun for them. It's less stress on the elephant. It's less stress on us if they're going to come over and present their ear and let us get blood from them to see how they're doing health-wise. So they're right now, Teddy and Winnie are both learning ear descent, so they'll present their ears so that we can get looking at their veins and see where we can draw blood from. They're also leaning in, so we can get a look at their body from the trunk tip all the way to their tail and make sure everything's healthy on them. And you see Teddy's opening his mouth for Rob. We're looking at their teeth. We want to make sure all their teeth are coming in good and look healthy. So every single day we're going to look at their feet, eyes, mouth, and everything like that to make sure that they're healthy. So Teddy's mom is Tess, and then we have Winnie. Teddy is actually our youngest, and actually our biggest. So he is over 1,000 pounds now. And Winnie, who was born before him, is just a little bit under that and catching up really quickly. But Teddy's a male, so he's probably going to be a little bit bigger in general in the future as well. Elephants are super smart, and everybody knows that, so they catch on very quickly that if they do a behavior for us, that they get reinforced for that. So they're going to get something really, really good. They're going to get something like bread, which is different than their daily diet. So we give them their daily diet. They get that no matter what. And then they get something really good and extra. So when they give us, present their ear and give us a blood sample, they get like a melon, which is the best day ever for them. So they usually run over and present their ears to get that blood drawn. Anthony asks, are all the elephants related? They actually are not. Most of the elephants that were born here and younger than like Tupelo, who's about 11, they're all kind of related through Thailand, our breeding bull. But Nitai, our matriarch, is actually not blood related to anybody, but she still holds that role as kind of the grandma and the matriarch that kind of holds this herd together. And then you guys are going to see coming up now is Tupelo. And then the cool thing about Tupelo is Winnie, her baby, is actually our first artificially inseminated baby born here at the Houston Zoo, and she has a completely different dad than the rest of the babies here. So that's cool for our genetics kind of going into a breeding program and things like that. So you're going to start watching Winnie do the exact same stuff that Teddy was doing. And the cool thing about these guys is they all have different personalities. So Winnie seems to catch on a little bit quicker to training, but she also is a little bit older. And then Winnie's in general, she's not much of a roughhouser and likes to wrestle as much as Teddy. But if you come visit the Houston Zoo, you're definitely going to see Teddy and Winnie and all the rest of these little babies kind of wrestling and rumbling around. And that's really cool to see here. It's the first time in a long time we've had this many little babies at a similar age that they're all able to play and wrestle and kind of get that interaction with each other. And as for if they're all related, if you come to the zoo, you'll notice that we have a lot of T-name babies or T-name elephants. We have Tess, Tucker. All those T-names are related to Tess. So every single T-name goes back to Tess, our elephant. Jeff asks, when will Nelson and Teddy move into the bachelor yard? Good question. So in the wild, naturally the herd will kind of push those males out. Here at the Houston Zoo, it's a little bit different with them being in captivity. So what we'll do with them is when they kind of reach about maybe 4 to 5, or when the herd maybe is starting to show those signs, we're going to start slowly transitioning them over. So they may spend the day over in the bachelor herd and then come back over with their moms for the night. And that just gives them an opportunity to kind of get used to that. And it's our opportunity to watch them throughout the entire day and make sure that they're healthy. Are healthy and being happy and interacting well, and nothing's going to be dangerous for them. So we'll do that very slowly, and then as soon as we see that confidence in all of them, they'll just end up over there kind of like Duncan has now. He kind of did the same slow transition. Patricia asks, how can you tell them apart? That is a really funny question, because when I started working here, they all look similar. They're all just big, large elephants. So they all, like I said, have unique personalities, and not only that, they have different features to them. So when Teddy was born, he had a curly tail. That's kind of going away a little bit, but it does present itself every now and then. Winnie just kind of has a more dainty look to her between Teddy and her. Right now, Teddy's ears are kind of deciding what they want to do. Sometimes they're flat forward. And then as you look kind of at our bigger ones, Tupelo has ears that kind of flat forward as well. We all look at something different as keepers. Each one of us has a different way we tell them apart, but a lot of times it's their personality. And then my favorite is our matriarch, Mitai, who is actually the hairiest elephant here at the Houston Zoo and the pinkest female that we have. So she's the coolest one to kind of pick out of the herd. And then we also have, I guess, Tess has really, really blonde ear hairs. You can notice that as you're looking out in the herd. And I will admit to you that Joy, Tilly, and Nelson and all of them, if they're all kind of separated in the yard, it's going to be a little more difficult to tell them apart. But they do have differences in their facial features, their ears, and their size and shape in general. Like you'll see some of our females have just a completely different shape to their body in general. Kathy asks, how long can they live for? So I usually tell people they can live a lot longer in captivity because they have really good health care here. So there's no questions asked of if any one of them gets sick. We're definitely taking care of them and monitoring them every single day. You're watching Winnie open her mouth for the camera. That's one of the things we check multiple times a day to make sure that they are healthy. You don't want to see any discoloration or anything like that. And so in captivity, they can live a little bit longer. I think one of the oldest known Asian elephants was a male, and he was in his 70s in captivity. So I usually tell people kind of between 50s and 60s. And it all depends on the elephant, just like us as humans. And then in the wild, it's a little bit lower, probably about between 40s and 50s. Tanya asks, will they move to other zoos? Very good question. So that'll all depend on how the dynamic of the herd is. So we will probably not move any elephants unless the dynamic and any elephant isn't kind of fitting in with that herd. So we watch their behaviors, we watch their herd, and make sure everybody's kind of getting along. With our males, typically they are solitary in captivity or in the wild. So if you're going to see a male by himself in captivity, for sure, they're usually probably the happiest that way. So we got a really cool dynamic here where we're able to keep a lot of our bachelor males together. But it all depends on how those elephants are getting along and breeding programs and things like that and what are suggested for them. Ida asks, were they all born in zoos? No, they were not. So we have a couple elephants, mostly our older ones. None of our young ones were brought to us here. But we have some wild-caught elephants that had come to us, which is really cool for me because we have about 3 of them. Because that's adding a whole new dynamic to our breeding program within captivity. So if one day we might find that we have no elephants in the wild, that those breeding and all that different genetics helps to bring a program together that we're able to bring a species back without having to, and have their programs like that to bring that species back to a healthy population. But like I said, most of our babies, or not most, all of our babies are born here, including Winnie, who was, like I said, she was from a different bull at a different zoo, and she was artificially inseminated, or she was our artificial insemination baby. Lauren asks, what can we do to help save them in the wild? I love that question. So simply just coming to the Houston Zoo and visiting these guys and watching them play in their yard and wrestle with each other and interact is helping save animals in the wild every single day with our partners and things like that. Just doing research and kind of educating people about what is happening with them in the wild is a really big important thing as well. I think a lot of people just don't know what's happening with them and what their problems in the wild are, and just being aware of them helps a lot. But mostly just visiting the Houston Zoo definitely gets us helping our partners in the wild to save these guys. You get to come visit their counterparts in captivity. They get to be kind of a representative for those wild elephants and educate people and do, like I said, we draw blood from them, and we're able to learn a lot from drawing blood from them and seeing the characteristics and the trends in their blood samples and things like that. And that is helping those ones in the wild as well. So I was talking about their personalities a little bit earlier. Teddy and Winnie have completely different personalities, like I said. Teddy is very much a roughhouse. He comes out the gate every morning ready to wrestle with anybody in sight. But you will notice that if you see them in the barn, he's the first one to take his nap. He's passed out under his mom's hay net, usually covered in hay, taking the hardest nap that he can possibly have because he played all day long, pushing around even his big sister, Tilly. So usually you'll find him doing that, and sometimes you'll even see most of the elephants kind of getting annoyed with him because he doesn't want to stop wrestling. And Winnie's a little bit more independent, so you'll see her even leave mom. Sometimes she'll come into the barn all by herself, and we're like, where's your mother? But she'll eventually find her mom, but mostly she loves hanging out with our matriarch and hanging around with Mitai, is one of her favorite elephants to hang out with. Charles asked, I noticed sometimes the pool is full and sometimes it is not. Why is it not full sometimes? Also very good question. So the pool is not full because of these cute babies that you guys are watching right now. So we want to watch them get in the pool and be confident in that pool while we are here, and see that confidence before we fill it and see how their swimming is. So they also build that confidence by playing in the pool. And then when we raise it, it's no problem for them to be swimming. So it took a little bit for Nelson to start swimming in the pool, and we're starting to see that. We had it full the other day and watched them throughout the whole day before we lowered it. And Teddy played a lot on the edge, playing with his trunk in the water, spent most of the morning just on the edge of the water contemplating if he wanted to make the jump. But other than that, you will see that pool raise when both the elephants and us as keepers are confident with their swimming abilities. You will also see the moms. Part of the reason those babies don't go down into the pool is because you'll watch those moms kind of pull them away. That's a natural thing for them. They don't want to take their babies straight into the water in the wild either. Their job as a mom is to watch them and make sure that they are good swimmers before they're swimming or going into those water. Andreas asks, are there any more plans for breeding? As of right now, there are not. So we have a lot of babies right now. So we're going to take care of these babies for a little longer, and then definitely probably in the future. You'll see some maybe other females breeding, but that is definitely not in the works right now. And if you come to the Houston Zoo, that might be why you sometimes see Thailand in the yard and sometimes you don't. So Thailand's separated when any of our females are cycling and things like that. So Thailand gets to kind of rotate between both yards. So you sometimes see him out in the yards in the PM or early in the morning. But he used to spend a lot of time with our herd, but because we're not looking for any more cute little babies right now, he spends a little bit more time in that bachelor bachelor yard. So with the training that we have, like I was showing, like we watched a little bit earlier, so they kind of grow on those training, and then eventually they start to learn that we do all of our training for husbandry purposes, so that they can do anything we need to do medically without them being stressed out. But then we start to do fun behaviors that just is cool for them to get their mind stimulated and things like that. Like these guys will learn how to paint. And so the paintings are very, very cool and unique to each elephant. Each elephant paints a little bit differently. And so if you're ever interested in a painting, we do have those available. And if you're looking for a last minute holiday gift, you can look at those. And if you ever want to meet or see Teddy up close or Winnie up close and meet one of their parents, we also have some encounters available as well. Thanks again for tuning in. Join us again next year in January when our live will come back. Happy holidays and enjoy watching our elephants. You guys have a good day.